Hello, Desert Valley Summer EdCamp families. My name is Ashley Worrell, and I am your Kids Zone Director. We are so excited to have you join us for this summer, and we're excited about the opportunity to share some information about our summer programming with you with this presentation. We're going to go ahead and get started with just introducing you to our summer staff here at Desert Valley this year. We do have many staff members joining us. You may recognize some of the faces on this slide. Miss Deanna Scott will be our lead staff member in the kindergarten through second grade classroom this summer. You may recognize her from previous summers or even during the school year. Miss Nilu Azumar is our third through eighth grade lead staff member, so she will be with our older students this summer. And then we have a handful of associates that will be helping out in the classrooms in the morning and the afternoons. The last picture that you see on this slide is our Kids Zone facilitator, Miss Christina Sosa, and I'm actually going to turn it over to her so she can introduce herself.
Hi, Desert Valley families. Hello, Desert Valley families. I'm so excited to see you guys this summer. We have a lot of new faces this summer that I'm so excited to meet, and a lot of older faces. So I'm just really excited. We have lots of exciting activities, lots of exciting vendors to share with you guys, and we're just really excited to share this summer with you.
Thank you so much, Christina. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items regarding the basics of summer. We are starting our summer programming on May 26th. That is the first day of camp this summer, which is a Wednesday. So there are a couple of days in between the end of the school year and summer camp starting. That does allow our staff to close down their school year classrooms and set up for summer to make sure we're set up for success. Our last day of summer will be July 28th, which is also a Wednesday. It is a few days before school starts, but again, just allowing us to properly close down our classrooms and reopen our school year ones. We are closed on 2 days during the summer this year. So the very first one is going to be for Memorial Day. We're closed on May 31st, so no camp that day. And then on July 5th, that's actually the day that we will observe Independence Day. So we will be closed on July 5th as well. The way that it'll work at Desert Valley, if you've not joined us before for summer, is we will utilize 2 classrooms for the majority of our events here on campus. The first classroom will be kindergarten through second grade students, and the second classroom will be third through eighth grade students. Give or take, we do mix sometimes, just kind of depending on the needs of students. We will also use additional spaces here on campus. We will use the multi-purpose room for our meals. We'll also use that for our gross motor play, since it will be too hot to utilize our playground throughout the day. We also go to the computer lab most days as well, so we'll utilize some of those spaces as well. And then just a quick reminder that we do start the beginning of the day in one classroom together until about breakfast time is when we split into our 2 classrooms. And then we end the day in one group as well, just so we can begin to start closing down some of the areas of the campus. So you might be wondering how we spend our days here at summer camp. We have themes for every single week for the 10 weeks of summer. So all of our themes, or all of our activities and our vendors are planned around those themes, which we'll get to in the next few slides. Within those themes, we do a handful of hands-on engaging activities. We do STEM activities every day, so that's science activities and experiments. We'll do engineering challenges. We utilize technology within our classroom. We have a couple of virtual field trips that we'll be participating in. We do arts and crafts every single day. We do group games. We do gross motor time. Additionally, we do have a few times throughout the day where we have what we call center time. In our classrooms, you'll notice that we have different center areas set up in the classroom. So centers is when students have the ability to utilize those parts of the classroom. They will include areas like the building center, which would have magnet tiles and Legos and blocks and people. We also have dramatic play, which is sometimes kind of your typical kitchen area. It also could be a veterinarian area or a restaurant or an amusement park restaurant. So it kind of changes depending on the themes. We do have a quiet, cozy corner where students might go if they just kind of need some quiet alone time. We have books in there, and it's a cozy area with soft seating. We have a sensory bin available to all students. And then we also have just open-ended art materials within the classroom. And then last but not least, we have our puzzle and game area, which is where they can go to play cards games and board games and all sorts of things with their friends. Throughout the day, we do have story time in all of our classrooms. It looks a little bit different depending on the age. For the younger group, it is a picture book story read by staff members, and then usually an activity to accompany that story. For the older groups, it could look a variety of different ways. It could be a chapter book that we read a chapter every day. It could be quiet reading time where they participate in reading on their own. It could also be a read aloud story. We do visit the computer lab daily. And they're only allowed to use KidZone district approved websites, but we do utilize the computer area for about an hour a day, depending on the day. We do gross motor time a couple of times. We go outside first thing in the morning before breakfast, and then we also visit the multi-purpose room for organized gross motor play throughout the day as well. And then, of course, we spend a lot of time eating. We have 4 meals a day. So if campers are here for the majority of the day, they will get breakfast, they get a morning snack, they get lunch, and then they also get an afternoon snack as well. I spoke a little bit about these summer themes, and so this is just a list of the summer themes. Keep in mind that after this presentation, your facilitator, Christina, will be reaching out with all of these documents. You'll have a calendar that lists all of the summer themes as well, so don't feel like you have to remember from this presentation. All of these themes have been voted on and were decided by students in KidZone this year, so they were all different topics that our students indicated that they were interested in over the summer. We have worked really hard this year to schedule on-site visitors or vendors. One change, if you've experienced a summer with us in the past, is we will not be doing off-site field trips this year. As a COVID precaution, we are still going to keep all students on campus. We're not going to be going out into the community as a camp just yet. But don't worry, we have lots planned, even with vendors only coming on site. We have found a bunch of new vendors that we're excited to have this year. This is not a complete list, but just to give you an idea of what we will be doing all summer. The Arizona Science Center will come out a handful of times and do a variety of different topics with us. Challenge Island is a new vendor for our program. What it is kind of like a survivor challenge experience where they'll group children into small groups, and they'll get a challenge, and they either have to solve the problem or they have to create and make something, but lots of team building, cooperation, problem solving, creative thinking, all of those things. They'll come out a couple of times this summer. We are going to have the Gameplex game truck come to us this year. I know that is expected to be a student favorite. Keep in mind, all of the games that are within the game truck are rated E and age appropriate. We'll have mini golf and laser tag and Deb's Dragons and a handful of more as you wish. We're doing splatter painting. So we're very, very excited to be able to offer all of these vendors and know that the students will be kept engaged all summer. Keep in mind for the on-site vendors, when your facilitator emails you, when Christina emails you, there will be a permission slip for all of the vendors, just one permission slip that we will need to receive back for your student to be able to participate in those vendors. Just a little bit about the arrival process here at Desert Valley. Christina will be sending a campus map for you, so that will make it very easy to know where to arrive and where to enter the campus. We are going to park off of Windrose this year, which is the same as we've done in the past. So we'll park off of Windrose right by where the basketball courts are. And then the gate right there will be labeled with a KidZone sign, and you'll enter using that gate. Your classrooms, the 2 KidZone classrooms, will be located as soon as you enter the campus. It's the first building on the left. And so you'll see signs on the door for each of the classrooms. The sign in and out table will be outside of the classroom. So you'll sign your students in there. We do ask that you say goodbye and sign them in and out outside of the classroom. We are trying to limit how many people enter the actual KidZone classrooms. Here at KidZone, we do have standard classroom expectations for all students. There are 4 of them, and they're universal. So the very first one and the most important one is be safe. We do expect all students to behave in a way that keeps themselves and others safe. We do expect students to be respectful to the staff, to other students in the classroom, be responsible. So this is things like taking care of the classroom, taking care of our materials, cleaning up after yourself, and then be helpful. This is where we work on and focus on how are we good classmates, how do we take care of our community, how are we helpful to those around us. And so these will be posted in all of the classrooms. They will also be reviewed on a daily basis. They'll spend a lot of time up front talking about what does this look like in our KidZone classroom? How do we need to behave in order to make sure that we're being safe, respectable, responsible, and helpful? Children are expected to follow the directions and the expectations that staff members give to them. We do expect children to be able to function in a 1-to-20 ratio. So our classrooms have about 25 students with 2 adults, but we do expect that if needed, students are able to function and be able to be safe in a classroom with 1 adult up to 20 children. We mentioned earlier that your child will be fed quite often here at camp, and so all of the meals are included for the KidZone fee that you pay daily. We will have, like I mentioned, breakfast, lunch, and 2 snacks. You do also have the option of bringing your own meals. So if you know that you have a picky eater or you're concerned that they won't be getting enough of what they'd like to eat, you're more than welcome to send your student with a packed lunch or packed meals, and we will make sure that they take those with them to the cafeteria to eat. In terms of allergies and medications, we know that we have a handful of students that either have a medical concern that requires a medication or an allergy that requires medication. Please note that when you get the email from Ms. Christina, she will include a medicine consent form. If you are expecting that your child will need a medicine on site, you can complete that form and bring that med on the very first day of camp. One important thing is if your child requires a life-saving medicine, such as an EpiPen or an inhaler, we do ask that your child brings that before they start attending. It can be that first day, but unfortunately for their safety, if we have not received that life-saving medication, they will not be able to stay at camp until we've gotten that. We just want to make sure that we have everything that we need to keep your child safe all day long here at camp. Contracts and payments. So next week, you will receive your very first invoice for the first week of camp. So the way that it'll work is you have up until Tuesday of the week prior to make any changes to your child's contract. Now, when we say contract, we mean their schedule. So you can change their schedule for the week all the way up till the Tuesday prior. The reason that we say until Tuesday is because on Wednesday, we will be sending you an invoice which locks that schedule or that contract in place. So if you need to make changes, please do so by Tuesday of the week prior of attendance. Wednesday, you will receive your invoice letting you know how much you will need to pay for the following week of attendance. And that payment is due by the Friday prior to attendance. So we'll invoice on Wednesday. It is expected to be paid by that Friday. We do ask that if you need to connect with us regarding your payment or having any difficulties, please contact Christina as soon as you are able to do so. We do our best to work with families, but it's hard to do so if that communication isn't there. Payments will be made and contract changes can all be made on our online system, the system that you use to register, so LEO, which you can reach through any of the emails that we send, any of the invoices, you can link directly to that. You can also find it on the Peoria Unified website under our KidZone page. So you'll just click on that link and that's where you can go to make any schedule changes and to make your payments. We do accept in-person payments at the KidZone office, which is open Monday through Thursday during the summer. So if you need to come in person to make a payment, please just reach out to Isabel in the office and she can make sure and get you taken care of. One nice thing that I wanted to just point out in regards to payments is we are eligible to receive tax credits. So if you have ever made or are interested in making a tax credit towards KidZone, you can actually pay an individual up to $200 and then a couple up to $400. can make that contribution. It goes directly towards your students' fees, but could also be counted as a tax credit when you go to claim your taxes the following year. Personal belongings, we do ask that students limit the personal belongings that they bring here to camp for a couple of reasons. What's going to happen this year as a COVID precaution is all students are going to keep their belongings in about a shoe-size box labeled with their name. So that way we can make sure that personal belongings are kept separate. And so we do ask anything that's brought from home is able to fit into a shoe-size container. They will need to definitely bring a reusable water bottle, similar to what you've done during the school year. We have water bottle refill stations across campus, and so we'll be using that to fill up. But all of the drinking fountains will remain closed for the summer season. We also ask that personal electronics, including cell phones or gaming devices, are not brought to camp for a number of reasons. We want to make sure that those are kept safe and are not broken or damaged or lost. Additionally, we want to respect the privacy of all students here and want to make sure that they're not being recorded or maybe on a cell phone doing something that they do not have permission to do from their parents. And so we do ask that those items are kept home. If your student absolutely needs to bring it, we will ask that they keep it away until they are picked up at the end of the day. If you need to reach your student or the Kids Zone staff, we do have a Kids Zone cell phone that's always on site here at Desert Valley. That information will be posted all over when you arrive. It'll also be sent to you via email when Christina emails you. And so we do ask that you call that number if you need to talk to your student or any staff members here at camp. Just to highlight a couple of the COVID-19 procedures that we will have in place for the summer. I'm sure that all of you have heard, but beginning May 24th, masks will be optional for both staff and students when they're on campus. Health screenings, we're asking, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next slide or so. Health screenings, we do ask that you conduct a health screening for your student before you bring them to camp, similar to what you've been doing all school year long, to take a look to make sure that they don't have any symptoms that could be consistent with COVID. Our staff members will be doing that as well. We will have increased cleaning, so we'll be doing cleaning throughout the day, and we do have additional staff to help support disinfecting the classrooms. And then, of course, we've been doing this all year long, but increased hand washing throughout the day for both staff and students. We will socially distance whenever possible throughout the day. When we're not able to socially distance, we will rely on our other mitigation strategies. Our students will also have their own individual art supplies and writing supplies. So every student will have a Ziploc with things like scissors and glue, crayons and markers, those types of things. Personal items will be limited. And then we are going to be cohorting our students. So there will be other groups of students on campus this year because of summer school and other things that are going on. And we will make sure that our Kids Zone cohorts or our Kids Zone students are utilizing joint spaces as a cohort and not mixing with those other groups of students. I talked briefly about health screenings. What we are asking is that before you bring your child to camp, that you take their temperature. Anything of 100 or greater does need to stay home. And then if your child has any of the symptoms listed on this slide, so some of those things include cough, headache, sore throat, congestion, vomiting, any stomach issues, we do ask that you keep your child home from camp. We will cover quarantine and isolation procedures in the next slide, but they will be the same procedures that we've been following throughout the school year, which are recommended procedures by the Maricopa County Health Department. If your child experiences any of these symptoms while they're at camp, they will be sent home. And then once we are aware that these symptoms have taken place, students will then be isolated. And what that means is they will either need to get a negative COVID test to return to camp, or they will need to stay home for 10 days and have their symptoms reduced or getting better by the time that they return back to camp. But again, if you don't want them to miss their 10 days, you are able to go get them a negative COVID test, and they can return once they have a negative test and their symptoms are reducing. If there happens to be an exposure, either here at camp or even outside during personal hours, a student will be quarantined for 10 days, which means that they will not be able to attend camp. They do have the ability to test on on the 6th day and return on the 7th day, as long as they have that negative test on the 7th day. But any student that has been exposed to COVID will need to follow the quarantine procedures as recommended by the county. And with that, I do believe that is all of the information that we wanted to share with you today. Again, I know that was a lot of information. Please do not feel like you have to have it memorized. Christina will be here, I will be here, and the staff will be here to help guide you through the summer and make sure that you're aware of all of the things going on. This PowerPoint will be sent out to you in Christina's email as well. So you'll receive this PowerPoint, a calendar for the summer, the permission slips that you need, a menu, all of the information. So you can always refer back to it. But I do appreciate you taking the time to listening to the presentation and spending a little bit of time with us. We are so excited to have you for the summer, and we cannot wait to have your children with us for camp, to be able to have all of the great experiences that we have planned. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great day.